the Dhamma and the Sangha. My highly respect to all most vulnerable from around the world. Venerable Kevali, the Dhamma preacher with me today, and all devotees around the world, especially Dr. Wang Mo. I would like to thank the Cambodian committee for inviting me to participate this international Tripitaka chanting for the second time and the second year. ដែលនាំឲ្យយើងមិនបានសេចក្តីសុខអញ្ចឹងសម្ដេចឃោសនន្ទលោកឲ្យយើងរៀនមានស្មារតី mindfulness លះបង់នៅការជាប់ជំពាក់ចំពោះខណ្ឌទាំង5នោះរូបវេទនាសញ្ញាសង្ខារវិញ្ញាណលះបង់ការជាប់ជំពាក់ចំពោះរូបសម្លេងក្លិនរសសម្ផស្សដែលយើងប៉ះពាល់តាមរយៈភ្នែកតិចច្រមុះអណ្ដាតកាយនឹងសម្លឹងឃើញថាជារបស់មិនទៀងប្រែប្រួលមិនអាចប្រកាន់មមបានកាលណាមានសតិនឹងរឿយកាត់ផ្ដាច់នៅឧបាទានការចងជាប់ទៅនឹងខណ្ឌទាំង5ឬក៏ការប្រកាន់មមនៅក្នុងរូបសម្លេងក្លិនរសផោថពៈកាមគុណនឹងយើងនឹងបានសម្រេចនៅព្រះនិព្វានដែរមិនខានចំណែកអត្ថបទទី2របស់លោកគឺលោកសម្ដែងអំពីសេចក្តីស្រឡាញ់គ្មានដែនកំណត់ដែលយើងអាចចម្រើនមេត្តាដល់ខ្លួនឯងជាដំបូងសូមឲ្យខ្ញុំបានសុខរួចផុតពីទុក្ខតាមសម្ដេចឃោសនន្ទថាសូមឲ្យខ្ញុំនឹងគឺទាំងអស់គ្នានឹងឯងនៅពេលដែលយើងប្រាថ្នាខ្លួនឯងឲ្យបានសុខសូមកុំឲ្យខ្ញុំខឹងគេសូមកុំឲ្យខ្ញុំចងពៀនឹងគេយើងស្រឡាញ់ខ្លួនយើងមិនចង់ឲ្យយើងមានចិត្តអាក្រក់មានន័យថាយើងការពារអ្នកដទៃយើងស្រឡាញ់អ្នកដទៃដែរ
And I believe the experience of monks, for example from Cambodia living in the United States now, is also very much that people who see them as monks, as samanas, relate to them very different than to any other normal practitioner. And there is something very special that is carried through the Vinaya, which is the way the monks conduct themselves, which sometimes gets communicated even without words in the beauty of the form.
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ I would like to pay homage to the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha. My highly respect to all most vulnerable from around the world. Venerable Kevali, the Dhamma preacher with me today, and all devotees around the world, especially Dr. Wang Mo. I would like to thank the Cambodian committee for inviting me to participate this international Tripitaka chanting for the second time and the second year. I am honored to be here. I think I would like to invite one of the most respected Buddhist scholar from Cambodia to preach today. I'm going to read his passages. Samdait Mahakosananda, who already passed away in 2007. I think that even though he already passed away, but his teaching is still related. It is important for us to go back and learn his teaching again. I would like to read his message. He's so revered among not just from Cambodia but from around the world. One of his topics is Bodhi tree, the title of his teaching. The Bodhi tree is the tree of life. When the Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree for many weeks in quiet contemplation, he gained enlightenment. You can find a Bodhi tree anywhere, in Cambodia, in India, even in your own backyard. The Bodhi tree is called the great tree of life because all that is needed for lasting peace can be found in its roots, trunk, branches, and fruits. The Bodhi tree is a beautiful symbol of Buddhism. We can begin to learn about the Bodhi tree at its roots, which are known as the roots of all actions. 3 roots are wholesome, and so they naturally bear sweet fruits: generosity, wisdom, and loving kindness. Those are the root of wholesome action. The other 3 are unwholesome, so they naturally bear bitter fruits: greed, hatred, and delusion. The root of the Bodhi tree extends into the trunk, which is made of 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. These are the components of all our experience. The 5 aggregates are all slaves to feeling. They are like cook preparing food for feeling, to eat through the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. We can meditate on the 5 aggregates, making them the objects of our mindfulness. To live mindfully is to live without clinging to any of them. The trunk of the Bodhi tree grows into 12 branches, which are linked to the great chains of dependent origination. The Buddha saw that this chain was the cause of our painful cycle of birth and death. The branches of Bodhi tree teach us that everything in life arises through causes and conditions. Ignorance conditions volitional actions, which conditional consciousness, which conditions the mind and the body, which condition the 6 sense doors: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, which condition contact between a sense door and a sense object, which conditions feeling. All feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, is suffering because feeling is impermanent. When we are not mindful, feeling goes on to condition covering and or aversion, which condition clinging, which condition karmic formation of becoming, which condition rebirth, which condition the entire cycle of birth and death once again. The Bodhi tree teaches how to break these endless chains of suffering. The secret is mindfulness. If we use mindfulness to observe and control feeling, then clinging cannot arise. If clinging does not arise, then suffering cannot arise. It is really very simple. We can learn mindfulness step by step throughout our lifetime. I think the text teaches us that the importance of the Bodhi tree. The Bodhi tree is a place where the Buddha sat and get enlightenment through the practice of mindfulness. And we can break the cycle of suffering through the practice of mindfulness in daily. We can observe the precepts, and also we can meditate to cultivate more mindfulness and wisdom to look through the phenomenal, the process of nature, and to eventually eradicate the strong attachment to the five aggregates. I would like to read another message from him, Mahasamdai Mahakosananda. Okay. And let Venerable to translate. So, the second passage of Samdaya Mahakosananda in his book Step by Step, the title is No Boundary to Loving Kindness. There is nothing more glorious than peace. When we stabilize our posture and calm our mind, we can realize peace within ourselves. Then we can radiate loving kindness to those around us, our family, our community, our nation, and our world. We can meditate like this. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from anger. May I be free from suffering. Why must we love ourselves first? Because peace begins with individual. It is only loving ourselves first that we are able to extend love to others. Charity begins at home. By protecting ourselves, we protect the whole world. By loving ourselves, we love the whole world. When we say, may I be happy, we are speaking for everyone. The whole world is one. Life is one. We are all of the same Buddha nature. Loving kindness is very powerful energy. It radiates to all beings without distinction. It radiates to our loved ones, to those toward whom we feel indifferent, and to our enemies. There are no boundary to loving kindness. The Dharma is founded in loving kindness. The Buddha saw the whole world with compassion. And so our prayer for personal happiness naturally grow into a prayer for everyone. May the whole world be happy and free from suffering. Buddhist scriptures describe the merits of loving kindness meditation. They tell us that those who practice loving kindness sleep well, they have no bad dreams, they can focus their minds quickly, their minds are clear and calm, they have no nervousness, no fire, poisons, or weapons will harm them. They can solve all problems of the world. They are loved by all sentient beings. Their complexions become clear. They will attain nirvana. Altogether, there are 52 blessings derived from meditation on loving kindness. When we love all beings, we gain the blessing of fearlessness. Our speech and all of our physical and mental actions become clear, and we become free. The greatest happiness is found in living without egoism. This is one of the fruit of loving kindness. Another is contentment with life as it is. Life often seems burdensome, but it becomes easy when we stop struggling. Moment after moment, step by step, we can experience life as something light and pleasant. There is no need to hurry. Without loving kindness, we are like fish in clear water, never submerged by burden of the world. We float down the stream of time easily from moment to moment. We have complete peace in our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind because we control all of our senses. We have clear comprehensions about the purpose of our life and about how to live happily. We also have clear comprehensions about the objects of our concentration and about I, my, and me. The Buddha said, there is no I, my, or me. And this becomes clear when we put loving kindness into practice. Typically, we are selfish about our family, money, dwelling, name, and fame, and also about Dharma. But when we put loving kindness into practice, we become generous. We give food, shelters, and Dharma freely to all. Loving kindness also means friendliness. With loving kindness, all emptiness, all enmity is transformed. Our enemy will no longer hate us, and eventually they will return our loving kindness to us as friend. Yes, my friend, that is loving kindness. So, to summarize the teaching, I would like to encourage everyone to practice the teaching of the Buddha in daily life in order to gain the benefit of the teaching of the Buddha. If we just learn and not really put the teaching of the Buddha into practice, we seem not gain little bit benefit from the enlightenment of the Buddha under this Bodhi tree. We cannot find the way to end the suffering. If we continue to feed greed and hatred and delusion, and then the suffering follow us in every step. So it is very useful to recall the teaching of the Buddha and to remind ourselves that the Buddha is already attained Nibbana. He reached the end of the suffering, and we now struggle in the ocean of suffering. We are finding way from we gain the way from the teaching of the Buddha, and we follow his footsteps, and eventually one day we will attain enlightenment and the end of suffering. Thank you very much. Sadhu, sadhu. One pair, did you? ច្រើនពលញាតិញោមអាត្មានឹកឃើញថា ថ្មនេះទេចំណេះដឹងមិនជាទលំទលាយដោយសម្ដេចមហាឃោសនន់អញ្ចឹងក៏យកអត្ថបទសម្ដេចមហាឃោសនន់សម្ដែងពីដើមពោធិព្រឹក្សនឹងមកចែកជូនដល់ញាតិញោមសម្ដេចឃោសនន់លោកថាដើមពោធិព្រឹក្សអាចរកនៅណាក៏បានដែរនៅនឹងស្រុកខ្មែរស្រុកឥណ្ឌាឬក៏នៅខាងក្រោយផ្ទះយើងក៏រកបានដែរពីព្រោះកន្លែងណាដែលយើងអង្គុយហើយយើងបានសម្រេចធរកន្លែងហ្នឹងហើយដើមឈើហ្នឹងហើយដើមឈើខ្លាយជាដើមឈើពោធិព្រឹក្សសម្រាប់យើងនេះសម្រាប់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធណាអត់ទេតាហើយលោកសម្ដែងអំពីយើងទាំងអស់គ្នាណាដែលយើងមានចិត្តជាប់ជំពាក់ជាមួយនឹងរូបសម្លេងក្លិនរសសម្ផស្សពេលណាជួបរបស់ល្អក៏ជាប់ទៅវាជាហេតុនៃសេចក្តីទុក្ខពេលណាជួបរបស់មិនល្អក៏កើតទោមនស្សទៅក៏ជាផ្លូវខុសដែលនាំឲ្យយើងមិនបានសេចក្តីសុខអញ្ចឹងសម្ដេចឃោសនន់លោកឲ្យយើងរៀនមានស្មារតី mindfulness លះបង់នៅការជាប់ជំពាក់ចំពោះខណ្ឌទាំង5នោះរូបវេទនាសញ្ញាសង្ខារវិញ្ញាណលះបង់ការជាប់ជំពាក់ចំពោះរូបសម្លេងក្លិនរសសម្ផស្សដែលយើងប៉ះពាល់តាមរយៈភ្នែកតិចច្រមុះអណ្ដាតកាយនឹងសម្លឹងឃើញថាជារបស់មិនទៀងប្រែប្រួលមិនអាចប្រកាន់មាំបានកាលណាមានសតិនឹងរឿយកាត់ផ្ដាច់នៅឧបាទានការចងជាប់ទៅនឹងខណ្ឌទាំង5ឬក៏ការប្រកាន់មាំនៅក្នុងរូបសម្លេងក្លិនរសផតពៈកាមគុណនឹងយើងនឹងបានសម្រេចនៅព្រះនិព្វានដែរមិនខានចំណែកអត្ថបទទី2របស់លោកគឺលោកសម្ដែងអំពីសេចក្តីស្រឡាញ់គ្មានដែនកំណត់ដែលយើងអាចចម្រើនមេត្តាដល់ខ្លួនឯងជាដំបូងសូមឲ្យខ្ញុំបានសុខរួចផុតពីទុក្ខតាមសម្ដេចឃោសនន់ថាសូមឲ្យខ្ញុំហ្នឹងគឺទាំងអស់គ្នានឹងឯងនៅពេលដែលយើងប្រាថ្នាខ្លួនឯងឲ្យបានសុខសូមកុំឲ្យខ្ញុំខឹងគេសូមកុំឲ្យខ្ញុំចងពៀនឹងគេយើងស្រឡាញ់ខ្លួនយើងមិនចង់ឲ្យយើងមានចិត្តអាក្រក់មានន័យថាយើងការពារអ្នកដទៃយើងស្រឡាញ់អ្នកដទៃដែរហើយលោកបង្រៀនឲ្យយើងរៀនផ្សាយមេត្តាចិត្តទៅសពសត្វទាំងអស់ដែលកំពុងតែលិចលង់នៅក្នុងសង្សារវដ្តសេចក្តីទុក្ខនឹងគ្រប់គ្នាទាំងអស់សុទ្ធតែមានទុក្ខដូច្នេះហើយពេលណាយើងរៀនផ្ដល់សេចក្តីស្រឡាញ់ឲ្យអ្នកដទៃការប្រកាន់មាំថាអញរបស់អញនឹងវាថយចុះពីព្រោះយើងឃើញថាអ្នកដទៃមានទុក្ខយើងគួរតែជួយចឹងភាពអាត្មានិយមនឹងក៏ថយចុះមេត្តាករុណានោះក៏កើនឡើងចឹងនៅពេលដែលមេត្តាករុណានឹងខ្ពស់ទៅការប្រកាន់អស្មិមានៈនិងប្រកាន់ទូខ្លួននោះក៏ថយចុះទៅដោយដែលព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធព្រះអង្គបានមានប្រតិករុណាជួយដល់សពសត្វទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងដោយអត់មានបំណងចង់បានអីត្រឡប់មកវិញទេចង់ឲ្យតែសត្វលោកហ្នឹងបានរួចផុតពីទុក្ខប៉ុណ្ណឹងឯងអនុមោទនា
សាធុសាធុសាធុឥឡូវនេះទុកពេលសម្រាប់សំណួរប្រមាណជា15នាទី so like to give the floor for question and answer for Venerable Dr. Kusupip. If you have any question you can raise your hand and we will give the mic. He has given a talk about the meaning of the Bodhi tree from our late Samdaj Venerable Mahakosananda, who once lived in Massachusetts, United States, and he's the great meditation master and also known as the Buddha in the battlefield. If you have ever read his book, so if you have any question, you can raise your hand. ញាតិញោមមានសំណួរអីអាច โปสะสัวดอลองทอมกตักยังบานนะให้ประสังยังสมจุยเมิลพ้องนะให้เมียนยัดเยาเมียนสมนัวยังตกอากาศสำหรับนะสมนัวจำลายอยากเป็นประมาณเชียนะดับปรามเนตีนะ
Hi, Mother. May I have any question? Some tools of the ខ្ញុំគណៈសូមថ្វាយគុំដល់គុណព្រះពុទ្ធពធព្រះសង្ឃបរតនត្រ័យកាយទាំង3ហើយនឹងព្រះអង្គគ្រូទាំងពីរខ្ញុំគណៈចង់ដឹងថា why is the love is the most powerful suffering
So love can transform anger, can heal anger inside, and it automatically can transform the enemy to become friend because you don't hate them. So hatred make you feel that you have a lot of enemy, but when hatred absence from your heart, you have no more enemy. So it's important to build, to cultivate love and compassion toward all living being. Out of his loving kindness and compassion, that's why the Buddha spent countless lives to accumulate perfections. If he just want to reach Nibbana, he might reach in the Tipangara Buddha time, but out of his loving kindness and compassion, he dedicated his countless life to cultivate all the perfections and merits in order to attain the Buddhahood and to help out of his loving kindness and compassion. Okay, thank you. ញាតិញោមក៏ចង់ថាហេតុអីបានមេត្តានឹងសំខាន់ថាសេចក្តីស្រឡាញ់នេះវាជួយព្យាបាលកំហឹងនៅក្នុងចិត្តរបស់យើងនៅពេលដែលយើងតិចទៅវាលែងមានសត្រូវហើយពីព្រោះសត្រូវកើតឡើងដោយសារយើងខឹងគេអញ្ចឹងនៅពេលដែលយើងអប់រំចម្រើនមេត្តាច្រើនទៅវាបាត់អាធាតុខឹងហ្នឹងវាបាត់សត្រូវហ្នឹងហ្មងអញ្ចឹងគេអាចនៅខឹងយើងប៉ុន្តែយើងអស់សត្រូវពីក្នុងចិត្តយើងហើយព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធព្រះអង្គបំពេញបារមី4អសង្ខ័យ1សែនកាប់ហ្នឹងដោយសារចិត្តអាណិតហ្នឹងហើយមេត្តាហ្នឹងហើយករុណាហ្នឹងហើយបានព្យាយាមសន្សំបារមីរាប់អសង្ខ័យហ្នឹងបើព្រះអង្គចង់រួចខ្លួនតែម្នាក់ឯងសម្រេចអរហន្តហ្នឹងសម្រេចតាំងពីពុទ្ធទីបង្កបេះមិនបាច់ពិបាកខំសន្សំបារមីមកដល់ឥឡូវហ្នឹងទេអញ្ចឹងណាអញ្ចឹងព្រះអង្គមានបតីករុណាណាហ្នឹងហើយបានជួយបានទុកចិត្តលះបង់ការជីវិតរបស់លោកដើម្បីបំពេញបារមីហ្នឹងអនុមោទនា
To any other questions? So if so, we move to the next Dhamma speaker, Ajahn Kevali. We would like to invite Most Venerable Ajahn Kevali to please give a Dhamma talk, and there will be a translator into Hindi.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami ito parang sakachang dhammo so tapoti. I'd like to ask permission to talk on Dhamma. Venerable Mahatheras, senior monks, senior nuns, and all the Sangha and all the Upasakas, Upasikas gathered today, and Venerable Vajrapanyo Mahathera. I feel happy to hear from Venerable Somdet Mahakosananda, because when I lived in Berlin as a student, he came to visit one time in the Berlin Buddhist Vihara, and I can really relate to what Venerable Vajrapanyo was reading out, because his presence and the history of him conquering the aggression and violence to his peace and kindness was tangible. So I feel very touched by that. Thank you. And also Anumotania to all the Cambodia people. It's been wonderful being here. This is the second year that you have been hosting this event, and it's done very beautifully, and I feel very well as a brother to all of you in the Dhamma. So this is very, very nice to see under the Bodhi tree, that we can all come together from various traditions and countries, and we have the same spirit, the teachings of the Lord Buddha.
आचार्य केवली जी ने सबसे पहले तो अनुमोदन किया जिन आचार्य ने पहले संबोधन किया, और उन्होंने ये याद किया कि जो महाघोषानंद जी का जिक्र हुआ, उनकी जो शिक्षा थी उससे वो भी बहुत प्रभावित हुए। भिक्षु बनने से पहले जब वो बर्लिन में रहा करते थे, तो आचार्य महाघोषानंद की जो शिक्षा थी उससे उन पे काफ़ी असर पड़ा था। और दूसरा, आचार्य केवली जी ने जो कंबोडिया के उपासक उपासिकाएं हैं उनका अनुमोदन किया। इतना भव्य कार्यक्रम जो दूसरे साल भी आयोजित किया जा रहा है, इतनी श्रद्धा, इतनी भक्ति भाव से, इन दोनों बातों का आचार्य जी ने अपने शुरू के वक्तव्य में अनुमोदन किया।
So the occasion that we come together is again the recitation of the teachings of the Buddha. And as you know, we can see that there are two major parts of the teachings of the Lord Buddha, the Dhamma and the Vinaya. And I believe that most of us do consciously get access to the Dhamma through having heard the teachings, maybe having received them from mother and father, if you are lucky to be born in a Buddhist country, or through the books, if you're born somewhere else in this planet, these days maybe through the internet. But most of us have been inspired directly by the Dhamma, the teachings. What is less known to most of us is the Vinaya, which we are right now reciting because it is part of the Tipitaka. And Ms. Wangmo and her team have successfully already recited the whole of the Suttanta Pitaka, all the suttas, all the discourses, already heard and already reached us. And now we come to the Vinaya, which is like the second part of the Tipitaka, and the third part, as you know, is the Abhidhamma.
आगे आचार्य जी बताते हैं कि हम जो यहाँ इकट्ठा हुए हैं इस बहुत पावन पाठ करने के लिए भगवान बुद्ध की शिक्षा का, तो भगवान बुद्ध की शिक्षा से अमूमन जो हमारा परिचय है वो जो धम्म का पार्ट है उससे परिचय है। अब यदि हम किसी बौद्ध परिवार में हैं तो माता पिता के माध्यम से, और उसके अलावा ये भी संभव है कि किताबों के माध्यम से, अन्य तरीक़ों से हमारा भगवान बुद्ध की शिक्षा से शायद परिचय हो गया हो। लेकिन जो भगवान बुद्ध ने आचरण के नियम बनाए, जिसको विनय कहा जाता है, उससे शायद हमारा इतना परिचय नहीं है। तो ये जो संस्करण, ये जो एपिसोड अब चल रहा है चैंटिंग का, पाठ का, उसमें अब हम जो नियम हैं उनका उच्चारण कर रहे हैं। तो ये अपने आप में एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण आयाम है भगवान बुद्ध की शिक्षा का, जो कि अमूमन हमारे सामने शायद इतना नहीं आता है।
And I'm just thinking about whether it's actually true that I myself has come to the teachings of the Lord Buddha through the Dhamma more than through the Vinaya. Obviously, I have heard about the teachings of the Buddha, and when I was a school kid, I sometimes volunteered to write papers on Buddhism, because as a kid I was able to live in Thailand for a short time, and I always felt close to the teachings of the Buddha. But thinking about it, actually, I was also very impressed by whichever monk I have met on the occasion of going to temples as a tourist, seeing the culture of countries in Southeast Asia and in India as well that respect religion and respect the form of a samana.
आगे आचार्य जी बताते हैं कि वो भी जब बालक थे, छोटे थे, तो उनको मौका मिला थाईलैंड में कुछ समय रहने का, और तभी भी जो भगवान बुद्ध की शिक्षा है उससे उनका कुछ परिचय तो हुआ। कुछ बचपन में उन्होंने उस पर एक छोटा सा पाठ भी लिखा था। लेकिन वो कहते हैं कि जब मैं वहाँ रह रहा था तो मैंने ये देखा कि मुझ पे बहुत प्रभाव पड़ा इस बात का कि किस तरीके से जो श्रमण हैं वहाँ के, वो अपने आप को, उनका जो आचरण था वो किस तरह से जी रहे थे, और उसके इर्द गिर्द उपासक उपासिकाओं का जो उनसे संबंध था, तो वो जो आयाम था उससे आचार्य जी का परिचय काफ़ी जल्दी ही बचपन में हुआ।
And I believe the experience of monks, for example from Cambodia, living in the United States now, is also very much that people who see them as monks, as samanas, relate to them very different than to any other normal practitioner. And there is something very special that is carried through the Vinaya, which is the way the monks conduct themselves, which sometimes gets communicated even without words, in the beauty of the form that the Buddha recommended his disciples to take for the practice when they leave the household life and become monks.
आगे आचार्य जी उदाहरण देते हैं कि जैसे यहाँ पे हम जानते हैं कई सारे भिक्षु कंबोडिया से आए हैं, और काफ़ी बड़ी मात्रा में जो कंबोडिया के लोग हैं वो आज अमेरिका में रह रहे हैं। तो वो उदाहरण देते हैं कि भाई वहाँ जिस प्रकार से भिक्षुओं का एक अपना आचरण होता है, जिस प्रकार से वो अपना जीवन व्यतीत करते हैं, जिस तरह से वो उपासक उपासिकाओं से आदान प्रदान करते हैं, वो भी अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा एक एग्जाम्पल बनता है कि किस तरीके से जो विनय है, जो आचरण के नियम हैं, जो भिक्षुओं के जो भिक्षुओं को एक तरीके से एक सूत्र में बांधते हैं, वो देखने से ही उसकी जो शोभा है वो बनती है।
For example, what monks do in this world many times is characterized by restraint. We're careful not to do too much or things too quickly. For example, I believe it's the same in Cambodia. Like they say, a monk running is not beautiful in Thailand. It's the same. So maybe the novices can still run around, but like the sense of restraint, sense of composure, and whether we are practicing this from a sense of inner aloofness or from keeping the guidelines of the Buddha, telling us stop here, better be careful, doesn't matter. We can meet each other in the middle, coming from the heart with a natural sense of restraint, equanimity and peace, like many of you have as well, and coming from the external form where the Buddha says, don't go there, stay back, for example. So there's the formal part and the informal part. And the informal part is for everybody the same. The formal part is special for the monks.
आगे आचार्य जी उदाहरण देते हैं कि भाई जो भिक्षु नियम है उसके अनुसार वो नियम उनको एक तरीके से एक सीमा देते हैं अपने आचरण की, किस तरीके से उनको व्यवहार करना है उसकी एक सीमा बन जाती है। और आचार्य जी बताते हैं कि यदि पूरी तरीके से वो जो सीमा है, वो जो एक तरीके से रोक है अपने आचरण पे, वो बेशक पूरी तरीके से एक चित्त की शुद्धि, पूरी तरीके से मन की शांति से ना भी आ रही हो, बल्कि इससे भी आ रही हो कि भाई ये हमारे नियम है, बहुत स्पष्ट है, हम इन नियमों का उल्लंघन नहीं करेंगे, हम इस लक्ष्मण रेखा के आगे नहीं बढ़ेंगे, वो भी अपने आप में एक बहुत अच्छी शुरुआत है, बहुत ही सराहनीय है।
So when we are now reciting the Vinaya Pitaka under the sacred Bodhi tree, a lot of the things that we are reciting have a very formal nature. They are very precise, they give you definitions of, for example, what it means that you cannot eat in the wrong time. It defines it very clearly. We have just heard it yesterday, for example. And other things are very precise. It's like a legal textbook. And obviously not so inspiring to read the Vinaya Pitaka. But if you see the Vinaya practiced, maybe it is inspiring.
आगे आचार्य जी कहते हैं कि जैसे हमने कल पाठ किया, कई जो विनय है उसमें कई बहुत औपचारिक बातें लिखी हुई हैं, किस तरीके से कब भोजन करना है, नहीं करना, वगैरह वगैरह। तो ये संभव है कि इतनी ज़्यादा औपचारिकता, इतना ज़्यादा जो महीन बातें लिखी हुई हैं, वो शायद हमें बहुत ज़्यादा उत्साहित ना करें। आचार्य जी कहते हैं कोई बात नहीं, हमें उससे परेशान होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, बल्कि वो जो औपचारिकता है, वो जो सीमाएं हैं, वो हमें मदद करती हैं इस मार्ग पे चलने के लिए और इस मार्ग पे बने रहने के लिए।
What I would say is that for everybody, whether monks, nuns, samaneras, samaneries, mechis, and anybody who practice in the formal way, or all of you who practice as an individual people in a group or together with your families in lay life, what is important is that we build up a culture of respect and a culture of not just doing what we want, but we do what is correct. And this is very important. This is something I had to learn becoming a monk, because many of us in the West, we think, I can do everything. I can buy a ticket and fly to Thailand. I can fly to Cambodia if I like. I can do everything. If I have money, if I've got my health and energy, I can do everything. We decide on what we like. We decide on what we want to see, want to get, want to have, want to also show off sometimes, honestly. So I had to learn this as a monk, to take myself back, because of the culture of restraint, the culture of respect for each other, and the culture, we can say the silatam, sila dhamma, the culture of sila, not just the 5 silas, but the spirit of the sila, to be restrained and to be careful about what you do, what our own actions, what kind of impact they have on other people, whether it's by speech, saying something harsh which we later regret, or whether it's by gesture. Sometimes, like people move around, asserting their place as if they were a tank or so, basically steamrolling everybody else. And actually, we can learn how to stop this and be more gracious and more refined in our conduct. And this is one of the virtues that not only for the monks create a culture, but also for all of us as Buddhist upasakas and upasikas.
आगे आचार्य जी ने अब जो अपना वक्तव्य है वो आगे बढ़ाया कि विनय जो भिक्षु नियम है उससे आगे बढ़ के जो सामान्य गृहस्थ हैं, उपासक उपासिका हैं, वो बताते हैं कि उनके जीवन में भी और उनका जो आचरण है, उनका जो दिनचर्या है, उसमें भी अगर हम जो जिस तरीके से शील हमारे दिए गए हैं, या उन शीलों के आधार पे जो जिस तरीके का आचरण हमारा होना चाहिए, वो हमारी बहुत सहायता करता है। कैसे सहायता करता है? उन्होंने अपना खुद का उदाहरण दिया कि भाई जब मैं गृहस्थ था तो मुझे लगता था मैं जो मर्ज़ी कर सकता हूँ, मेरे मन में जिस तरीके की इच्छा उठती है, जिस तरीके की चाह उठती है, मैं उसके अनुसार काम कर सकता हूँ। तो आचार्य जी बताते हैं कि जो विनय है, या उससे आगे बढ़ के जो भगवान बुद्ध ने जिस तरह से शीलों का हमें एक जाल दिया है अपने आप को बचाने के लिए, वो हमें मदद करता है कि मन में जिस तरह की वृत्तियाँ उठती हैं, जिस प्रकार की इच्छाएं उठती हैं, जिस प्रकार की चाह उठती है, हम हमेशा उसके अनुसार काम ना करें, हम उसके पीछे ना जाएं, बल्कि अपने आप को इस डोर में बांध के रखें ताकि हमारा आचरण धम्म अनुसार हो और केवल अपने मन में जो भाव उठ रहे हैं, जो हमें अच्छा लगता है, नहीं अच्छा लगता, उसके अनुसार ना हो.
So I find it very, very inspiring to see also the dignity of all of you in the way you relate to the things and people that are meaningful to you with respect and a form, not just casual, but also, for example, when we do the chanting together, we coordinate it, we listen to the leader, and we bow together. This is all a Vinaya culture, a culture of respect and a culture of keeping a form that helps us to communicate and do things together. I believe that the Sangha of the Lord Buddha would not have lasted to this day if there was no Vinaya, because actually the Buddha mentioned that it's like you have flowers put on a tray loosely scattered around and the wind blows them away, whereas if you put them all in a little arrangement with a string, then they stay together, and then this flower garland will stay a long time. Similarly, when asked by Venerable Sariputta why the dispensation of the former Buddhas, some of them lasted long and some of it lasted not long, he gave this simile and said the Vinaya is like a string that ties the people together and gives us guidelines, sikkhapadang, training rules, a culture of improving oneself through the very, very clear guidelines.
तो आगे आचार्य जी अपनी बात बढ़ाते हैं, बताते हैं कि भाई हमें जो विनय है या जो शील है उनको इस तरीके से देखना है कि वो हमें एक ढांचा देते हैं अपने जीवन को जीने का, जिससे कि हम बिखरे ना रहें. फिर उसका एक स्पष्ट उदाहरण उन्होंने दिया कि आप इस तरह से कल्पना करें कि अपने सामने अगर कोई फूल पड़े हुए हैं और वो और अगर तेज़ हवा आती है तो फूल बिखर जाते हैं, जबकि अगर हम एक धागे से, एक डोर से उन फूलों को बांध देते हैं गुच्छे में, तो फूल एकत्रित रहते हैं, वो बिखरते नहीं हैं. तो इसी तरीके से भंते सारिपुत्त का एक सूत्रों में बात आती है कि उन्होंने भी बिल्कुल यही उदाहरण दिया विनय के महत्व का. तो संक्षिप्त में वो हमें ये समझाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि जो विनय है, जो शीलों का हमारे पास ढांचा है, वो हमारे अपने जीवन के लिए हमें एक बहुत अच्छा एक कंटेनर, एक ढांचा प्रदान करता है.
So, but if I had only known the Vinaya as a young student, I would probably have felt this is too strict, this is too tough, this is heartless, it's only about law and only about order. But luckily, it's human beings that practice the Vinaya, and they also smile every now and again, they also make mistakes, and they also correct each other, and they have a beautiful way of dealing with each other and forgiving themselves when they are doing things that are not appropriate. And that's also a very good culture and also a beautiful thing.
आगे अपनी बात को बढ़ाते हुए आचार्य जी कहते हैं, भाई देखिए ऐसा भी लग सकता है, वो कहते हैं कि अगर मैं शुरू में जब मैं गृहस्थ था तब मेरा अगर परिचय होता विनय से, तो मुझे लगता है ये तो बहुत ही मुश्किल चीज़ है जो केवल हमें बांधने के लिए है, जिससे हमारी स्वतंत्रता समाप्त हो जाएगी. कहते हैं ऐसा नहीं है, बल्कि हम देख सकते हैं अपने खुद के रोज़मर्रा के जीवन में कि हमसे कई बार गलतियाँ होती हैं, तो हम उसके लिए उसकी माफ़ी मांगते हैं, और इसके बावजूद कि हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं अपने आप को एक संगठित डिसिप्लिन जीवन जीने का विनय के माध्यम से, शीलों के माध्यम से, हमारी जो मन का जो मुख का तेज है, एक स्माइल है, वो हमारे मुंह से नहीं हटती है, उसके बावजूद हम काम कर सकते हैं एक प्रसन्न चित्त से, बल्कि उसके वजह से हम एक प्रसन्न चित्त से काम कर सकते हैं.
And this pair between the Dhamma and the Vinaya, you can see as like two sides of the same life that we live. Partly the Dhamma is about freedom, about letting go, about not being bound up with anything, whereas the Vinaya is like the string, basically. It binds you up and it kind of tells you stop here. Somehow we have to combine this. And it's a very, very interesting project to find out how this works. You have a form, but inside you cultivate freedom. And it's good to know actually the word Vinaya means to lead out, lead away from, lead. It's the way out. Even the form, the Buddha said, basically use this technique. We can say the Vinaya is like a technique. Maybe you can compare it to the meditation techniques. If you have been practicing maybe in India, it's very popular to practice in the method of Gwenkaji, for example. You have a very clear technique, or other techniques that I was taught before when I was in Berlin, for example. Very, very precise. If you do this, then you have to continue like that and do it very systematically. And there are very good meditators that can keep the discipline very highly, and they can sit.
आगे आचार्य जी बताते हैं कि जो धम्म और विनय है वो एक दूसरे के पूरक हैं एक तरीके से। धम्म में हमें सिखाया जाता है कि हम कैसे किसी चीज़ को कस के पकड़ के ना रखें। जितना हम किसी चीज़ को पकड़ेंगे उतना ही हमारा दुख बढ़ेगा। जबकि विनय में हम बात करते हैं कि कैसे जो ढांचा है, जो स्ट्रक्चर है, जो बाहरी आवरण है, उसको हम ढीला ना करें, उसको हम कैसे दृढ़ रखें, संगठित रखें। तो आचार्य जी ने संक्षिप्त में एक उदाहरण उन्होंने दिया कि जिस तरह से मेडिटेशन टेक्निक्स हैं जिसमें चीज़ें बहुत स्पष्ट होती हैं, बिल्कुल उसी तरीके से हम विनय को समझ सकते हैं, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ हमें धम्म को समझना ज़रूरी है क्योंकि वो एक दूसरे के पूरक हैं। एक तरफ से हम कह रहे हैं कि हमें चीज़ों को बहुत सहज भाव से लेना है धम्म में, और विनय में हम कह रहे हैं कि भाई हमें ढिलाई नहीं बरतनी है, हमें सख्ती से नियमों का पालन करना है। तो इन दोनों चीज़ों में हमें सामंजस्य बनाने की ज़रूरत है।
Very good. The light is back. So, if you're too strict with your formal meditation and you're hooked up on the technique, it's like a monk being too strict with the Vinaya and hooked up on the discipline, and he doesn't smile anymore, and the meditation becomes sour, and you feel like actually you don't like it anymore. It has to be a bit more friendly and alive and opening up some good energies. So that's very, very important for us to learn, to use the forms that we use and use the heart as well, the externals and the internals. And I feel very much if we have a minimum effort to keep the form all together, like the upasikas are very respectful and supportive, and the monks are restrained, then actually everybody feels safe and can experiment in there and can do little things that are a little bit out of the box, and every now and again feel out what is behind the form and don't have to hide behind it. But that requires a safe culture, a very beautiful way of living together, which guarantees everybody to be heard and to be seen and having the right role and attitude. And this is what I feel is the Buddhist inheritance, very much particularly in Asia, coming from a country abroad where the form is very much dismissed. It's more or less, I can do what I like, just like I said, it's very much, I think Longpo Sumedho, one of our teachers, he quotes from America, Frank Sinatra, "I'll have it my way." I don't know whether it's still common, but like this kind of attitude doesn't create safety. Like it creates a sense of competition, a sense of privilege. Whereas like if we have like a minimal consensus of what we mean when we interact with each other and are respectful with each other, then we have Vinaya in the right measure, all of us, and we can actually let go. We can feel safe and develop the mind and rise up to the very, very high teachings of the Buddha, because we can feel safe and carried. The monks feel supported. We can go to the forest. We can go to foreign countries. We know people will help us, and their attitude is respectful, helpful, and at the same time we can give back something. And when we go into seclusion, we can give back a sense of gratitude, a sense of kindness, a sense of wisdom, and we can experiment a little bit with that through that culture of a very restrained and beautiful, respectful way of living together.
इस बार आचार्य जी ने दो बातें रखी हैं हमारे सामने। अव्वल बात तो ये है जो मध्यम मार्ग की बात है और जो अतियों में जाने की बात है, कि जब हम विनय की बात करते हैं तो बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हम उसको इस तरह से अतियों में ना ले जाएं कि अपना खुद का मन जो है वो विक्षिप्त हो जाए। तो जो विनय के प्रावधान हैं उनको हम जिस तरीके से उतारते हैं, उनको हम जिस तरीके से समझते हैं, वो इस भाव से हों कि उससे जो हमारा मन है वो फिर भी प्रसन्न रहे और बहुत ज़्यादा हम उसको मन उसमें प्रताड़ित ना हो उसके अनुसार जीने में। तो ये बात थी। दूसरी बात उन्होंने कही कि जिस तरीके से भिक्षुओं और जो गृहस्थों का जो रिश्ता है उसमें जो विनय के प्रावधान हैं वो हमारी बहुत सहायता करते हैं। एक तरफ से जो भिक्षु हैं उनके जो जिम्मेदारियां हैं गृहस्थों के प्रति, उसके अपने जो दायरे हैं वो उसको उन दायरों के अनुसार निभाते हैं, और जो गृहस्थ हैं उनका भिक्षुओं के प्रति जो आचरण है उसके भी अपने जो रिस्पेक्ट के तौर तरीके हैं, दायरे हैं, वो उसके अनुसार करते हैं। तो ये जो एक बहुत अहम भगवान बुद्ध ने रिश्ता बनाया गृहस्थों का और भिक्षुओं का, हमें जो विनय है वो उस रिश्तों के एक तरीके से तौर तरीके, कायदे कानून में मदद करता है, बताता है कि ये आदान प्रदान किस प्रकार से किस ढांचे में होगा।
So if you were to understand exactly all the translations of the Vinaya Pitaka, you might not find it very inspiring and too detailed and specific only for the monks and nuns. But if you look at the whole culture that the Vinaya created and has preserved for us as Buddhists, it is really a beautiful thing and is really worthy of learning about and studying. And it doesn't mean that one has to be perfect in every area. We can see that we come from different monasteries. Some emphasis is stricter in one area, some emphasis is more loose in other areas. Some conduct of the lay community towards the monks in one culture is allowed, in one culture it's not allowed, but we can learn from each other and have the general basis in the training rules and the idea that we are careful about what we do and we are observing what are the boundaries, and we can learn from also the example of the other monks or the other upasikas. We can learn from what we observe in the way they conduct themselves. And if we cultivate this sense of like being alert to how other people interact with us, then we develop these foundations of sila, the respect for other people and the feeling of not wanting to do anything that embarrasses or makes oneself look ugly, unbeautiful, selfish or so. We have the sense of what we call in Buddhism hiri, means like a sense of shying away to do something that's offensive for other people. We know we cannot just be very rude, or we cannot just force away whether we have every detail of the conduct spelled out or not. Over time, this quality of having hiri, a sense of feeling out what is my relationship to the others, how do I come across, will I be censored, will I be having negative feedback, will I do something that's embarrassing for myself, this grows, this quality of hiri.
फिर से आचार्य जी अपनी बात को आगे बढ़ाते हैं। वो ये कहते हैं कि भाई अगर आप इन ट्रांसलेशंस को समझ रहे होते जो पिछले कुछ दिनों में हम पाठ कर रहे हैं तो शायद बहुत ज़्यादा हम उससे उत्साहित ना होते। हमें इसको देखना इस तरीके से है कि जो ये विभिन्न नियम हैं, बहुत सारे नियम हैं, उनका अलग अलग जो देश हैं, अलग अलग मोनेस्ट्रीज़ हैं, जो अलग अलग परंपराएं हैं, उनमें इनका अलग अलग तरीक़ों से समझ है, इनका अलग अलग तरीक़ों से पालन होता है। इनके आधार पे जो आचरण है उसमें आप देखेंगे काफ़ी विविधता है। तो एक बात तो जो आचार्य जी कह रहे हैं कि हमें बहुत ज़रूरत है कि एक हमारे में इस विविधता को समझने की और इस विविधता के अनुसार हमारे अपने आचरण को ढालने की प्रज्ञा हो, की समझ हो। और इसी बात से उन्होंने फिर अपना अगला बिंदु जोड़ा, वो जो भगवान बुद्ध ने हीरी की बात की है कि मुझसे ऐसा कुछ काम ना हो जो कि किसी और को जो कि किसी और को ठीक ना लगे, जिस वजह से मुझे शर्म आए। तो इसका ये संबंध है कि जब मैं किसी और से आदान प्रदान कर रहा हूँ तो मैं इस बात के प्रति संवेदनशील रहूँ कि वो व्यक्ति, वो भिक्षु, वो उपासक उपासिका किस बैकग्राउंड से आ रहा है, उनकी क्या समझ है, उनके क्या तौर तरीके, क्या कायदे कानून, क्या नियम है, और मैं भी अपने आप को उस तरीके से ढाल सकूं ताकि हमारे एक दूसरे के जो आदान प्रदान है उसमें किसी को भी ठेस ना पहुँचे और हम एक दूसरे के प्रति संवेदनशील रहें। ये एक और इसका तरीका है इसको इस्तेमाल करने का।
And the other part, which is one of the two foundations of Sila, or what we call the guardians of the world, is the first part is hiri, the sense of shame, embarrassment, not to dare to do something offensive. The other one is a wise reflection on the consequences of your actions. Because you know, if you speak something falsely or insult somebody, you'll get into trouble. You'll get the receipt for your actions. And you can learn by seeing how your actions affect other people and what the feedback is. And this is called otapa. It's like the quality of being wise enough to know that your actions have consequences. This sounds a bit more legalistic, but it's also, in the way the Vinaya works, it's very beautifully combined with the idea of asking for forgiveness. If you have done something that was too much and offensive and you want to correct something, you go see the other bhikkhu or the other practitioner and you ask for forgiveness, for example. For example, when the monks meet each other, many times we just bow down to each other and say, whatever by body, speech and mind I may have committed towards you, may you be so kind to forgive me. So that idea of we are in this chain of causes and conditions, like that the actions that we do have consequences, sometimes severe. We can also react to that and learn from it through correcting ourselves and also asking for forgiveness in the culture that the Vinaya provides for us.
आगे आचार्य जी अपनी बात और बढ़ाते हैं और दो और बिंदु हमारे सामने रखते हैं। अभी हमने हीरी की बात की, अब आचार्य जी उसका जो पूरक है उत्तपा है उस पे आते हैं कि भाई हम इस जो सारा विनय का जो ढांचा है, जो आचरण के नियम हैं, उसमें हमें एक बहुत बड़ा लाभ ये होता है कि हम इस बात के प्रति सतर्क हो जाते हैं कि मैं जो भी काम करूँगा उसके कोई ना कोई परिणाम होंगे और मैं दुष्परिणामों से मेरे मन में एक प्रज्ञात्मक भय बना रहे, जिससे कि मैं जो बाउंड्रीज़ हैं उनका उल्लंघन ना करूं, मैं ऐसा कोई काम ना करूं जो कि अकुशल हो। एक तो वो ये बात बताते हैं और इसी बात से उन्होंने जोड़ा जो हमारे में एक औपचारिक क्षमा याचना होती है, जब हम एक दूसरे से ये बात कबूल करते हैं कि भाई मुझसे अगर मन, वचन या शारीरिक कर्म से कुछ भी ऐसा हुआ हो जिससे कि आपको ठेस पहुंची हो तो मुझे उसकी क्षमा करें, और इसी तरीके से दूसरा व्यक्ति भी करता है। तो ये जो उत्तप्पा वाली बात है और जो क्षमा याचना वाली बात है वो ये सुनिश्चित करता है कि हम हमारे जो कर्म हो, चाहे मानसिक कर्म हो, वाचिक हो, चाहे शारीरिक हो, वो दूसरे व्यक्ति किसी और को ठेस ना पहुंचाएं।
So when we practice the Vinaya, we can also say we get more mindful of what we're doing. For example, we have to be mindful of the clock in order to know when do we have to stop eating, for example. Very simple things. But you cannot just continue the way you like it. You have to take yourself back sometimes and be very aware of what you're doing. or when there's dangerous areas, when you come too close or you say something that is already slightly inappropriate, you have to notice it, and that is a factor of mindfulness. We also practice that very much similar to when you are practicing together in a group and you're very careful about not making disturbing sounds, turning off your mobile phone. Even though there's no Vinaya rule about turning off the mobile phone, we still observe that very carefully and be actually quite embarrassed if it suddenly makes a sound or so. So we have that mindfulness and awareness, and that gets strengthened through the practice of Vinaya. If we were just living by our own wishes and everything we like we could just straight away have, basically we wouldn't have much mindfulness. There wouldn't be any limitations, and we have to bump against these boundaries every now and again to know, oh, okay, this is how it works, and this is where it stops. And this is a very practical way of mindfulness. It's not that like controlled in that sense that every step you do you very, very carefully place or so, but like you are aware of the boundaries of what is acceptable by the group of people that you're in. And this is a very, very beautiful quality, which I believe then makes also a bit of a more of a shining bright energy come out. If somebody is mindful and restrained. You remember Venerable Asaji? He was like the first. He was like walking on alms round in Rajagir, nearby, and Venerable Sariputta at that time not yet ordained, Upatissa. He just saw Venerable Asaji and thought, this samana is beautiful. He must have a real good teacher. He's got mindfulness, restraint. I want to be like that. And so there's some radiance to that if you have that sense of attentiveness and care.
आगे आचार्य जी अपनी बात आगे बढ़ाते हैं. उन्होंने हीरी उत्तपा की बात हमारे सामने रखी. अब वो हमारे सामने बात ये रख रहे हैं कि किस प्रकार से विनय का जो पालन है वो हमें बहुत मदद करता है, जो सती और संपजन्य है. सामान्य भाषा में अगर हम समझें, जो स्मृति है, हमें याद रहना है कि भाई किस परिस्थिति में क्या करना है, और किसी भी परिस्थिति की संपूर्ण जानकारी. तो उन्होंने उदाहरण दिया कि हम उदाहरण के तौर पे हमारे भोजन, भिक्षुओं के लिए भोजन का समय सीमित है बिल्कुल, तो हमें याद रखना ज़रूरी है कि अब घड़ी की जो सुई है वो कहाँ पहुँच गई है और अब मुझे भोजन रोक देना है या इसके आगे भोजन नहीं करना. तो विनय एक बहुत हेल्पफुल तरीका हो सकता है स्मृति को बनाए रखना, याददाश्त बनाए रखना कि मैं क्या मेरी परिस्थिति है, उस परिस्थिति में किस प्रकार का आचरण उचित है, क्या करना अनुचित है. और इसी को दर्शाने के लिए उन्होंने एक उदाहरण भंते अस्सा जी का दिया, जो जब पिंडपात पे जा रहे थे तो जो भावी भंते सारिपुत्र हैं, तब उनका नाम उपतिस था, वो उनको मिलते हैं एक गली में, और उपतिस जी को केवल भंते अस्सा जी का जो आवरण जो बाहर जिस तरह से वो चल रहे थे, जो उनकी छवि थी सारी, उसको देख के ही वो इतना ज़्यादा प्रभावित हुए कि तुरंत उन्होंने उनसे पूछा कि भाई आपके आचार्य कौन हैं, क्या आप मुझे सिखा सकते हैं, वगैरह वगैरह. और फिर आगे वो भंते सारिपुत्र बने. कहने का मतलब आचार्य केवली जी का ये है कि वो विनय का पालन है, वो अपने आचरण पे ध्यान रखने की बात है, जो हमारे लिए संभव करती है इस प्रकार की संपूर्ण जानकारी बनी रहे और स्मृति बनी रहे कि किसी भी परिस्थिति में किस तरीके से हमें आचरण करना है.
And then for oneself, there's a lot of benefits as well. If we want to meditate and we want to feel free from all the things that we have done before, and we want to stay in the present moment, it is so important that we have sila, that we have a sense of freedom from remorse, vipatisara, like that we basically feel that we don't have like anything that has consequences that we need to work off right now, that we can put that aside. We can say maybe there is something, we can do that later. The grave things, that we feel free from remorse through the way we conduct ourselves, and that we know well that we're good in a good way relating to other people, that we are carried through the actions by body, speech and mind, by something that is praised by others and supported by others, then we can sit down and be in the present moment and feel the freedom of remorse, feel the feeling of like, I must be lucky that I'm able to practice like this. I must have some, what we call barami, I have some old good karma that I was able to come to this point where I can just sit and let go. And this comes from practicing vinaya, practicing sila, and having that sense of caution and restraint.
आगे आचार्य जी अपनी बात बढ़ाते हमें ये बताते हैं कि भाई एक व्यक्ति के लिए अपने आप के लिए विनय और शीलों का पालन बहुत मदद करता है। किस तरीके से मदद करता है? आप कल्पना करें कि यदि अपने आचरण जो हैं खासकर कि वाचिक और शारीरिक आचरण बिल्कुल एक सीमा में बंधे हुए हैं, तो किसी प्रकार का मन में अफसोस, किसी प्रकार का भय जागने की कोई संभावना नहीं है। और जब मन में अफसोस और भय जैसी वृत्तियां नहीं होंगी, तब ये संभावना है कि हमारा मन एकाग्र हो, हमारा मन समाहित हो, और तब ये संभव है कि जिस प्रकार की भावना की बात भगवान बुद्ध ने की है वो हम करने में सक्षम हों। तो यदि हम चाहते हैं कि हम भगवान बुद्ध के मार्ग पे चलें, मन को समाहित करें, मन को भावित करें, तो उसकी जो नींव है वो इस प्रकार से विनय और शील का पालन है, मन को अफसोस और भय से मुक्त रखने के लिए।
So these are a few reflections on the feeling around the vinaya that it has for somebody who is bound up by the vinaya. Most of you are practicing as lay people, and you have other rules that you need to obey, and you have like other areas where you need to be punctual, precise. You can also see this as a practice of vinaya in the same way. For example, in the office, when you have to finish something in time, or when you cannot waste time drinking another coffee, things like that. And you also need the sense of discipline and the sense of knowing what you're doing for and trying to not cause friction. So this quality of vinaya is actually a very universal one. And I think we have a very fortunate situation that we have like the ordained Sangha living certain examples for us, because the practice of the Buddha goes very far. It's not just about like doing one's daily business. It's also about understanding about old age, sickness and death. And it's also about saying goodbye to sensual pleasures and to sexuality and to enticing things. As beautiful as it is here, this is all just about as beautiful as it is allowable by the Vinaya. Much more we can say, maybe too much. For the monks, we have this idea of restraint even in those areas. So we are fortunate to have that standard of practice that the Buddha designed by himself, saying this is what leads you out of samsara. If you have the chance to experience a little bit of how it works when you feel very, very correct and have been doing things in a way that's not offensive, then you can see how it can lead to a sense of letting go and also not getting carried away by things. So one of the areas of the Vinaya is also to be focused and see the essential things. And these are a few reflections on the Vinaya. I could go on for a long time. I think I heard the bell already. So I wanted to close here and wonder whether we still have a time for some questions. Okay. So.
अपनी बात को पूर्ण विराम देते हुए आचार्य जी एक हमें ये बताते हैं कि जैसे आप सब ज़्यादातर लोग यहाँ गृहस्थ हैं और आपके अपने कई सारे नियम कानून आपको पालन करना होता है। जिस तरह से ऑफिस में अगर आप हैं तो ये संभावना नहीं है कि आप हमें केवल चाय ही पी रहे हैं, बहुत सारा समय उसमें व्यर्थ कर रहे हैं। तो इसी तरीके से भिक्षुओं के भी काफ़ी सारे दायरे भगवान बुद्ध ने बताए हैं जिसके अंदर हमें अपना जीवन जीना होता है, और एक तरीके से वो हमें मदद करता है जो जीवन मृत्यु का भवचक्र है उससे बाहर आने में। और तो अपनी बात को आचार्य जी ने यहीं रोका, और अगर किसी के कुछ प्रश्न हो तो आचार्य जी उसका जवाब देने के लिए तैयार हैं।
Soeun អរគុណចំពោះព្រះអាចារ្យគេ បានប្រទាននៅធម្មទេសនាជុំវិញបញ្ហាព្រះវិន័យហើយអាត្មាសូមក្តោបសង្ខេបលោកសំដែងពិស្ដាទៅក្នុងកិច្ចនៃព្រះវិន័យដូចជាប្រពៃណីមួយដ៏ល្អដែលយើងគួរសិក្សារៀនសូត្រអ្វីត្បិតតែអានវិន័យទៅមិនជាទីជ្រះថ្លាប្រមាណទេណាញាតិញោមដែលធ្លាប់អានគម្ពីរវិន័យបៃដកតាំងពីភាគ1រហូតដល់ភាគ13ហ្នឹងគឺឃើញតែរឿងរ៉ាវផ្សេងដែលបានកើតមានឡើងក្នុងពុទ្ធសម័យមុនព្រះអង្គបញ្ញត្តិវិន័យហ្នឹងគឺថាសិតតែមានភិក្ខុដើមបញ្ញត្តិប្រព្រឹត្តអនាចារអនាធិបតេយ្យណាញាតិញោមឃើញនៅឥណ្ឌាឥឡូវក៏នៅតែមានអញ្ចឹងដែរណាអញ្ចឹងមិនខុសvềពីសម័យពុទ្ធកាលហើយរហូតដល់ញាតិញោមថាមើលវិន័យទៅដូចមើលតែរឿងអាក្រក់របស់ព្រះសង្ឃអញ្ចឹងហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងលោកក៏បានលើកឡើងរឿងចំណុចនេះប៉ុន្តែបើយើងគិតអំពីច្បាប់អំពីណាបទដ្ឋានឬក៏សិក្ខាបទដែលព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធបានទ្រង់បញ្ញត្តិមកនោះគឺប្រយោជន៍ដើម្បីសេចក្តីល្អដើម្បីសេចក្តីចម្រើនដើម្បីប្រព្រឹត្តទៅណាជាណាភាពរុងរឿងនិងសទ្ធាជ្រះថ្លាដល់ពុទ្ធបរិស័ទនៅក្នុងការគោរពប្រតិបត្តិចំពោះព្រះសង្ឃហើយបើសិនបើអត់មានព្រះវិន័យនេះទេពុទ្ធសាសនាក៏មិនអាចតាំងមាំមកដល់បច្ចុប្បន្ននឹងដែរនឹងលោកប្រៀបធៀបដូចផ្កាអញ្ចឹងណាបើវារត់រាយខ្យល់បក់មកប៉ើងណាអត់នៅទេតែបើមានវិន័យប្រៀបដូចជាខ្សែដែលដោតមើលភួងផ្កាម្លិះអីជាដើមហ្នឹងពេលមានខ្សែមានឈើដោតក្រងទៅវាល្អវាស្អាតហើយវាតាំងនៅបានយូរបងអញ្ចឹងប្រយោជន៍នៃព្រះវិន័យហ្នឹងមានច្រើនណាស់ក្នុងពុទ្ធសាសនាជាប្រពៃណីមួយដ៏ល្អដែលពុទ្ធបរិស័ទគួរបដិបត្តិឲ្យបានខ្ញុំណាត់អាត្មាមិនយកពេលវេលាទៀតទេគឺទុកឱកាសសម្រាប់សំណួរបើសិនបើមានជាសំណួរក៏អាចលើកឡើងនៅក្នុងឱកាសវេលានេះដែលព្រះអាចារ្យកេវលីនោះលោកជាជនជាតិអាល្លឺម៉ង់ហើយលោកបានរៀនមិនបានកើតនៅក្នុងប្រទេសពុទ្ធសាសនាផងប៉ុន្តែបានសិក្សារៀនសូត្រអានអញ្ចឹងទៅរហូតមាននិស្ស័យហ្នឹងបានទៅបួសនៅប្រទេសថៃណារហូតដល់បច្ចុប្បន្នហ្នឹងចឹងញាតិញោមសូមសពសាធិការជ្រះថ្លាអនុមោទនា So I would like to give the floor for Q&A. If you have a question, please raise your hand.
अगर हिंदी या मराठी में भी या बांग्ला में कोई कुछ कहना चाहे तो उसका भी ट्रांसलेशन कर सकते हैं. एक बंते जी पीछे हैं या तो आप आगे आ जाइए वो माइक तो वहाँ पहुँचेगा नहीं.
I have a question. Thank you, John. Is there any point when in the practice of a monk where you can recognize that form of the rules no longer is necessary?
Yes, I believe there is a point where a practitioner becomes independent from the realm of conventions and feels that it's not actually necessary to practice according to these rules, but the way that the Lord Buddha taught was to still keep the rules out of compassion for the other people around, because otherwise one gets into a situation where the rules apply to some people and they don't apply to others, and you can never really say whether the internal development is up to that level that a person can drop the rules. So there's one famous quote in the scriptures where one of the arahants doesn't go to the confession ceremony, the patimokkha anymore, and says, I'm beyond, basically. He didn't use those words, this is my narration. He says basically he felt it's not necessary because he wouldn't commit any unwholesome actions anyway. Whereas the Buddha strongly reproached him and says, if you perfected ones don't go to the patimokkha, who will go then? So the example overrides visibility of whether somebody is beyond or not. If anybody is beyond, in our tradition at least, we understand that he or she wouldn't show it. They would still practice according to the conventions, out of that being an example and out of compassion for the form, that other people can use the form and don't have to discard it. Does that make sense? Well, Mrs. Wangmo was asking whether the monks in the Sangha would know whether a monk is so far advanced in the practice that he doesn't have to keep the rules anymore. I think what the attitude from one monk to the other monk is usually is like that of tolerance and giving the other person the benefit of the doubt. And we sometimes would not know, but we assume, and we always assume the highest. We assume that somebody else, if he's done an offense, that basically he may not have bad intentions, or may have done it with a pure mind, but the principle of the form still requires to practice accordingly. Whether we know or not, it's a personal inspiration. If we feel somebody is keeping all the rules very strict, but he actually wouldn't have to because he's beyond, he or she, basically, then it's very uplifting actually. You get the feeling of, wow, this teacher is actually teaching us. He doesn't have to do it for himself, but he's teaching us out of solidarity, let's call it like that.
मैं संक्षिप्त में बता देता हूँ। वांगमोला ने ये पूछा कि क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि कोई भिक्षु ने अपना काम पूरा कर लिया है, उसका मन वृत्तियों से पूरी तरीके से उभर चुका है, और फिर भी वो विनय नियमों का पालन करे। तो आचार्य केवली जी ने बताया कि हाँ बिल्कुल, ये भगवान बुद्ध ने भी ये प्रावधान बिल्कुल इसी तरीके से रखा है कि विनय का जो पालन है, जो नियमों का पालन है, वो सभी को करना है। बेशक कोई ऐसा भी हो जिसका काम संपूर्ण हो चुका है, जिसका मन पूरी तरीके से मुक्त हो चुका है, उसको भी बिल्कुल इसी ढांचे में अपना आचरण करना है। बिल्कुल इसी तरीके से पाटिमोक्ष जो उच्चारण हम करते हैं हर 15 दिन, उसमें जाना है, उसमें अपने आप को प्रस्तुत करना है। और एक किस्सा भी आता है जिसमें कोई एक अरहंत था, वो नहीं गए पाटिमोक्ष में, तो उनको भगवान बुद्ध ने ये निर्देश दिया कि भाई अगर आप लोग नहीं जाएंगे इस तरह से उच्चारण में, तो और कौन जाएगा। तो ये संक्षिप्त में ये बातचीत हुई।
In this same area, just yesterday, we chanted one of the training rules where Venerable Belatasisa, the preceptor of Venerable Ananda, was storing up food in his dwelling, and eating up stored food is an offense. And then so that was the origin of the rule of forbidding monks to store up food. And even though he was an arahant, fully enlightened, he still was prone to this rule, basically. And so we have this principle that the Vinaya is the same for everybody. It doesn't matter which grade of attainment the person is.
Welcome to Buddha Gaya, and welcome to... my question is that you have whatever the teachings you give, you are giving the example, but from which in Tripitaka, from which Tripitaka, which references? Up till now, I have not, whatever you teach, whatever you we are listening, exact and accurate, I have not mean it. Well,
I was referring to the Theravada Vinaya as in the Vinaya Pitaka as we recited in this period, and as some of the explanations probably are interpretations which I took from my own tradition, from my teachers, and also a little bit of experience thinking about when we meet the limitations of ourselves, then we just ask for forgiveness, for example. These are all very precise procedures. You can find them in the Vinaya, but the way they are used, this is more experience. and I was trying to talk a little bit from the level of what I felt the Vinaya was, what the effect of the Vinaya are on a practitioner. But the exact details, for example, if you like to ask, like, if I can help you with that, like, maybe later you can.
Yeah, one little question.
Yeah.
All the world is going on Third World War. All the world is going on Third World War. How to liberate Buddha Gaya, free Tibet, and save Buddhism?
This is something I don't feel qualified to answer about the world going to the Third World War. I hope it is not. I hope we can store up so much goodness and parami that it won't happen. I truly believe that we have the power of our own minds to do good things, even though there may be very difficult political situations. I still believe that the mind is foremost, and we have to not give up cultivating good things. Particularly thinking about our friends from Cambodia, you have been through a very, very, very difficult period in the 1980s. I remember as a school kid in Bangkok, we were, right now I just also have my hair stand on end because it's so sad. So whether it's world war or personal dukkha or the dukkha of a whole country, we cannot give up in our own beautiful mind to make the best out of it. And like Venerable Vajrapanyo just said, like that, the power of metta can heal a lot. And Venerable Mahakosananda, for example, was one of the most important people that gave the guidelines for the reconciliation and for the Cambodian genocide.
With that, in that question, may I ask for all of us during the next 10 days to please dedicate your merit, whatever you have done good here, to world peace, and whatever we can to accumulate together for goodness in this current times.
Sadhu, Som Anumotaniya.
Satu Pante, in your beautiful discourse, you mentioned a lot of meditation. Since our mind have a lot of impurity, can you tell us from your experience or from Buddha teaching how to cultivate the mind?
That's a very good question. And the emphasis on the impurities of the mind. I think when you meditate, you can just trust that at this moment you have all the power of overcoming the impurities. It may be that it only lasts for 1 or 2 seconds, but you always go back to the sense of purity. Don't dwell on the bad things. Dwell on the purity of simply the neutrality of being in the present moment. Or if you like to specifically do something to counteract some of the unwholesome things you may have done, you can spread loving kindness and dedicate merit, for example, which many of us do at the beginning or at the end of the day. And we usually use various methods in meditation. The simple awareness is maybe one, but we also do things of practicing to spread loving kindness, and this is helping to purify you already, and that gives you more reason than when you do a very present moment based meditation to then say, I have done what I could, I have asked forgiveness, I have given my loving kindness to all sentient beings, including those that I don't like, may I now be peaceful. And this is the training of the mind, that despite all the dukkha and all the difficulties that are around us, that we can still come back to that purity in the present moment. And I hope that you don't give up and don't see yourself as having impurities, because every human being, particularly the ones gathered here, I think we have a lot of merit actually. So you can celebrate that rather and say how much barami I have, rather than saying how much impurity. That would be my advice, particularly in this day and age, particularly if you possibly live abroad and there's a lot of tension and a lot of negativity. Think in the good, and think about your good barami. Think about the positive qualities. Think about the power of the present moment, that you can be peaceful even though the world is a mess. So.